Welcome to a series of videos for WinBidPro version 16. In this series, this is going to be part one of how to create a new framing system. And we're going to be using the YKK catalog. Then we're going to actually look at our list of frames here. Let's go to catalogs, parts. So I have the YKK job open, so that means when I go to catalogs, all the stuff down here is going to be specific to YKK. I could always go to any other catalog that I've got installed or added to my account, and I can go to the parts or framing systems or doors or whatever for those different catalogs as well, just by clicking up in there. Whoops. But for this purpose, we're going to go to framing systems for YKK. Now I'm looking for, what we're going to do is we're going to copy an existing system and create a new one that's similar. So there's two ways to add framing systems. We can click the plus sign and just start from scratch, where we can put in a series identifier, description, set all the default profile, glass thickness, all that kind of stuff right here, and then go continue on to these other tabs. Or we can look for a system that's similar, and in this case, we're going to look for a YHS 50 system, which is a hurricane system that we have some. We're going to do the TU, which is like an ultra thermal, I believe. And it shows that we have 3 different systems already in here. Now, these are field glazed systems, just because I remember since from working on them. But we're going to do a shop glazed version of the inside glazed, let's see, center set. So this bottom one here, I want a shop glazed version of this compared to a field glazed version. So there's some differences, but they're pretty minor. So what I would want to do, since I already know that, let's take a peek at what I'm looking at here. If I'm on the YKK website, I'm looking at their YHS 50 TU series of frames, and then I'm going to look at the pre-glaze, they call it, and then I want inside glaze for that particular configuration. So it's showing me that here, and what I would want to do is download all the different details. Since I'm creating a new system, I also need the details for it, and those details are real helpful for figuring out what parts are needed, where the parts go, things like that. So let's say here's a inside glazed. They've got the different pressure ratings for the missiles. So we'll do the small missile one, and let's just view this detail real quick. So this is where I can see the details, I can download them, and then I can later add those to the framing system that we're copying here. And that'll be covered in one of the future videos for the series, but that's basically what we're doing here. So I'm going to back up a little and go back to where it's showing me this. And then back into WinBidPro, we're going to go back to our framing system list. So from here, if we're going to copy, we're going to click this little copy icon once I've selected the frame I want to copy. And it's going to show me up at the top that this is a copy that I'm working on, which is good. And now I'm going to actually have to edit the description. So that's the first thing we want to do, is change the description so that we know this system is different than the one we copied from. So small missile thermal, we'll say pre-glazed here after this. So we're going to say I guess we don't need to do all caps. Pre-glazed. And I'm just going to kind of match the format with the colons and everything. And really everything else is the same. It's the same glass thickness, same profile, same cock joints, all that. We can confirm that when we look at the details. But that's kind of what we're doing is we copy the system. We've identified what we need. We've copied the system, then we've renamed it. And then we would double check all these things. If we know something needs to be different, we change it. So again, the other option is we create a brand new system and we fill all this stuff in from scratch. And assuming you know all this information, it's really not that hard. There's not a ton of it here. But the glass bite's important because that's going to determine your glass sizes. The cock joint's important because if you're putting a rough opening size in, that's going to determine your frame size. All these settings down here for jambs, both wall and door jambs, is going to be important because it determines your cut lengths. If it has a sill receptor or not, or a head receptor, all those things. And while you're at it, if you're copying or creating a new system, when you're on the website, you could always copy this URL here, or there's the main URL for the system itself. So we could always copy this URL, which is, I think, what we already have in the software. So since we're copying a similar system, it's basically the same URL. But that's down here, and it's basically just a quick way to get to the website if you ever need to jump back to it to look at a different detail or something like that. So the reason we're doing this, I don't know if I mentioned this, is if you don't see a system that you need in the list of frames, I'm going to save this before I do anything else. And when we get back to this, it's going to be the pre-glazed version of this system. So the reason we're doing this, let's say I clear the filter, I'm not looking for the YHS 50 anymore, and you've got your entire list of frames for this manufacturer, then, and you're not finding a system that you need, right? You're looking for a certain type of system, but you don't see it. You can easily add it, and that's what this video series is about. How do I add a system that's not there and then is there in my catalog from then on out? And that's an important kind of tool to have in your toolbox, because we can't, with all the different catalogs that we present and supply and all the different frames for each catalog, it's kind of impossible for a company our size to include all that information in every catalog. So we try and put the core information, the most common things like that. But if there's a system that, like I say, is not listed and you need it, then you can easily add it. So that's why we're doing this video series. The other thing you can do, let's close this, is go to our catalogs menu, and you can request, not catalogs, I'm sorry, help. You can actually go down to catalog, add, edit, request, and you can click that, and you can send a request that says, for this manufacturer, please add this new system, and then type a message and all that. You don't need to put in a phone number, but you can if you want, because we'll get basically an email in our support system that says, this is what you want. So chances are we can add that system on our end, and then it's going to show up for everybody that uses GDS. But again, unless you ask for that, that's probably not going to happen unless YKK says, hey, add this system for us, or whatever manufacturer it is. But then the real thing is you want the power to be able to do it yourself, and that's what we're going to show you in these videos. So stay tuned. We kind of covered the first step, which is identifying the system, copying it, and changing the description, and making sure those settings on that first screen were correct. And then after that, we're going to get into all the parts and pieces of everything. So tune in for the next video. And thanks for watching.